Hey, Vicky Peel here with Her Life Hacks. And I've been working a lot lately on my website to make it more user friendly, more useful to you. And I just wanted to share a little bit about the updates. This is the home page, and I've redone my logo to incorporate the three components, which I have up here and down here. The three components that I'm going to be focusing on with Her Life Hacks is to clear clutter, organize, and preserve. Now, below that, I have a video called Stuff It that pretty much explains what I'm all about with the clutter and organizing. So you might be interested in taking a look at that. And then, are you ready to cop out? And by cop out, I mean cop, COP, clear clutter. And these are some of the things in terms of clearing clutter: organize, and preserve. And preserve is the newer part that you might not have heard me talk about so much. I want to share my story with my family in terms of creating a legacy. And these are some of the things that I'm going to be doing about preserving my history and being able to pass that on. Let me show you a little bit about that. Heritage. Okay, going down. Let me go back down to here. Her heritage homework. That's the overall framework of what I'm talking about here. And heritage may be the word that messes you up a little bit. When we're talking about heritage, I'm talking about preserving and about legacy. Heritage is what is passed on to you. And here's a couple of examples of some items that were passed on to me through my heritage. These double doors were actually in the house where I grew up. What I remember about them most is they were very dark black. I think they were covered in creosote. And they opened onto the side porch, which we had a wraparound porch, and near my parents' bedroom. And since the house was torn down, I was able to salvage the doors, and I had them refinished. These were handmade. The wood was cut at a local sawmill. My great-granddaddy and his two brothers ran the sawmill. And the interesting thing about this door is, and I never noticed this until I had it cleaned up, is, see these panels? One on one side is recessed. In other words, they got the doors backwards when they put them together. They should have been either both recessed on one side or both with the panel raised on one side. So I thought that was interesting. This is the original hardware that came with it. I also had the glass taken out and put in some lead glass that was done by a neighbor. And this lamp, the lamp itself, I found in an old tobacco barn that the roof had holes in it and it rained in there. It was just laying to the side. And so we added new wiring to that, and I bought a new shade for it. And I absolutely love it. Now, here's where you can get a copy of her heritage homework, her coming from Her Life Hacks. Heritage meaning what was passed on to you and what you intend to pass on, the preserving part that I was talking about in COP. And homework, home is in all caps because home is where all this takes place. So this is a homework checklist. It's a framework for decluttering, organizing, and preserving your legacy. And this is free. There's 6 pages with a cover sheet, 4 pages of ideas that will help you get started on your decluttering and organizing journey. Along with the ideas, there's resources that might be helpful to you. And then there's a bio page and contact page at the end. And this is free. All you have to do is to fill out the opt-in form and click I want this. And then here's a recent picture of me until I get a better one. And basically, this is what I'm all about. I help women of retirement age, or actually any age, if any of this applies to you. But I say retirement age because this is what I'm doing in my retirement years. And I'm going to show you how I'm doing it and how you can do the same things saving you time and energy and simplifying some of these processes. And if that's what you're interested in, I'm going to be decluttering my home and organizing all my spaces. I'm going to be adding vital legal documents, pull all that together. I'm going to organize my digital files and photos. And I'm going to be about creating the legacy that I want to leave my children and grandchildren, along with what was passed on to me. So if you're interested in any of those kinds of things, then Her Life Hacks is for you. And then at the bottom, this is the latest blog post in each of the 3 areas: clear, clutter, organize, and preserve. Then in terms of my blog, there are 3 areas. Okay, clear clutter is the first one. And these are the blog posts that relate to decluttering. This is also the same Her Heritage Homework Checklist that I showed you on the front page. And this is the cover sheet for that. So you can opt in here or on the front page. And then organize. This is the blog posts that relate to organizing. And blog posts that relate to preserving your legacy. And these are just a few things that I already have in here. And I've redone my story, and I want to show you a little bit about my rotating cube. This is the house in which I was raised. Huge, had about 7 or 8 bedrooms, a large wraparound screened-in porch, another porch on the back of it. And I lived in this house with my parents and grandparents. And this is my granddaddy standing out in the front yard. Grandparents lived on this side of the house, and my parents and my sisters and I lived on this side of the house. And my bedroom was upstairs. This is a front bedroom. My bedroom was behind that. And it was a very cold house because there was no insulation in it. It was built around 1900. And so we only had heaters in rooms in which we needed heat. And of course, you didn't need any in the summertime. We didn't have air conditioning, but it was relatively cool with the trees and the porches and everything. So there was no heat in my bedroom, but there was a vent cut in the floor right above my parents' heater that allowed heat to come up into our bedroom, but it was still cold. So in the winter, we would take a small blanket and we put it on the heater in my parents' bedroom and let it get nice and warm, and ball it up, and then run upstairs, jump in the bed with several layers of quilts and wrap the warm blanket around our feet to keep us warm. So, but I still love this house. And as you can see, my house, this is my house now, is very similar looking to it. I created the blueprint for this house when I was in my early 20s. And the way I did that was in the house in which we were living, the ceiling was made of 1 foot square. And so I would lie on the sofa and count the squares to see how big I needed to make a room in order for it to accommodate the kinds of activities that we would want in that room. So I would count, and then I'd figure, and then I'd put it in a blueprint, and I'd adjust until I got it like I wanted it. Now, originally, the house was just box looking. As fact, one of my neighbors said, "You used to live in a box." We didn't have the porch or the side room here. Then when we remodeled, we added the porch. And to do this, all I did was walk around the house with my neighbor, who was my contractor, and tell him exactly what I wanted. I wanted a big front porch that wrapped around to the side. We extended the side of the house to make the utility room larger so that the porch would back up to that. Put a gazebo corner on the porch and added a room with a bay window onto the side, which became our den. And I had this drawn in the original plans, but we decided at the time we couldn't afford it, so we left it off. The porch post here came from the house in which I was raised, the picture I showed you before. When it was torn down, I saved all the porch posts, and these came from there. These posts were also made at the sawmill I mentioned before that was run by my great-granddaddy and his 2 brothers. And in fact, this post right here, part of the paint was chipped off on all of them, but there was a space on this one that had a stamp on it that said Lilly Brothers Sawmill, Williamston, NC. And so I've kept that. I did not paint over it, and I just put some sealer on it to preserve that. And this also tells the same thing that I had on the front page. And this is a little bit about who I'm about. And who is Vicki Peel and why should I care? This is a short video that tells you a little bit about who I am and where I'm coming from. And a short story about my life. Now, my shop is not here yet. I'm working on it. But what I'm going to be doing is to put all my products in here, the freebies and the paid products that you can access easily. And then, of course, there's a contact me page. All you have to do if you want to contact me is put in your name, your email, and the message. And you can always email me anyway at vicky@herlifehacks.com. I hope you find the new website more user-friendly and enjoy accessing the blog post and the information in it. Thanks for checking it out. And don't forget to pick up your copy of Her Heritage Homework Checklist to get you started on your own decluttering, organizing, and preserving your legacy journey. Thanks.